Private Jake Morrison had been guarding Gate 3 at Fort Bragg for exactly 6 months. Every vehicle, every ID, every single person. By the book. That's what they trained him for. It was 0800 on a Tuesday morning. Hot. The Carolina sun already beating down on the guard check. Jake was on his third cup of coffee when he saw him. An old man, maybe 70, walking toward the gate. Civilian clothes, khaki pants, a plain button-down shirt. No military bearing, no uniform, just an old guy who looked lost. Jake stepped out of the shack, hand on his sidearm. Not threatening, just ready. This is the Human Stories, where we share moments of duty, honor, and the unexpected encounters that remind us why we serve. This is the story of a gate guard who did everything right, and the old man who taught him what honor really means. The old man approached slowly. Steady pace. No hurry. His eyes were sharp. Ice blue. Alert in a way that didn't match his age. Jake noticed the walk. Not a shuffle. Not old man slow. Measured. Controlled. The walk of someone who'd marched 1,000,000 miles. "Morning, sir," Jake said. Professional. Respectful. "Can I see your ID and gate pass?" The old man stopped 3 feet from the gate. Smiled. A kind smile. Not condescending. Just ... patient. "Good morning, Private. I'm afraid I don't have either of those." Jake's hand tightened slightly on his weapon. Not drawing. Just aware. "Sir, I can't let you on base without proper identification and authorization." "I understand," the old man said. His voice was calm. Southern accent. Smooth like old bourbon. "You're doing your job." "That's good." Jake relaxed a fraction. "Is there someone on base expecting you, sir?" "I can call ahead." The old man looked past Jake. Through the gate. At the base beyond. His eyes held something. Memory, maybe. Or longing. "I used to know this place pretty well," he said quietly. "Long time ago." "I'm sure you did, sir." But without proper authorization. Jake left it hanging. Polite but firm. The old man's smile widened. "What's your name, son?" "Private Jake Morrison, sir. 2nd Battalion, 82nd Airborne." "Airborne," the old man said. There was respect in his voice. "Good unit? Your CO?" "Lieutenant Colonel Davies, sir." "And his CO?" Jake hesitated. "Colonel Bradley, sir." "But I still can't." "And above him?" "General Martinez, sir." "Base commander." Jake's patience was starting to thin. "Sir, if you don't have authorization, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the area." The old man nodded slowly. "You're good at this, Private Morrison. Really good. You're not backing down. You're not being disrespectful. But you're not budging either." He paused. "That's exactly right." Jake didn't know what to say to that. The old man wasn't threatening. Wasn't even annoyed. He seemed ... proud. Of being stopped? "Tell you what," the old man said. "Why don't you call your CO? Tell him there's a gentleman at Gate 3 who'd like to come on base. Tell him." The old man's eyes twinkled. "Tell him Hawk is here." Something about the way he said it made Jake's stomach drop. Not in a bad way, but something in that nickname, that call sign. It felt important. "Hawk, sir?" "That's right." Jake retreated to the guard shack, picked up the phone, dialed Lieutenant Colonel Davies' office. The XO answered. "Sir, this is Private Morrison at Gate 3. I've got a situation." "What kind of situation, Morrison?" "There's a civilian here. Elderly male. No ID, no gate pass. Requesting entry. Says to tell the colonel. Hawk is here." Silence. Then, "Say that again." He said his call sign is Hawk, sir. More silence. Then, barely audible. Holy shit. The XO's voice got urgent. Morrison, do not let that man leave. Do you understand me? Keep him there. I'm getting the colonel. Jake's hands started sweating. Sir, who? Just keep him there, Private. The line went dead. Jake looked through the window. The old man was standing exactly where Jake had left him, hands in his pockets, looking at the sky, completely at peace, not checking his watch, not impatient, just ... waiting. 2 minutes later, Jake's phone rang. He grabbed it. Gate 3. Morrison. It was Lieutenant Colonel Davies. His voice was tight. Controlled panic. Is he still there? Yes, sir. Jesus Christ. Okay, listen very carefully. You did everything right. You stopped him. You checked. That's perfect. But that man you're looking at? Yes, sir. That's General Robert Hawkins, retired, 4 stars. Medal of Honor, 2 silver stars. Purple Heart with 3 clusters. Davies took a breath. Morrison, this base is named after him. Jake's vision tunneled. The sign he walked past every day. Fort Bragg, Hawkins Field. That's right. The airfield. The parade ground. The main admin building. All named after him. Davies's voice softened. He hasn't been back in 15 years. Morrison, you're going to walk out there. You're going to render the sharpest salute of your life. And you're going to apologize for the delay. Sir, you were doing your job perfectly. And he knows that. Now go. Jake set down the phone. His hands were shaking. He stepped out of the guard shack. The old man, the general, looked at him. That same patient smile. Sir? Jake's voice cracked. He cleared his throat. Came to attention. Rendered a salute so sharp he thought his arm might break. General Hawkins, sir. Private Morrison. I apologize for the delay, sir. General Hawkins returned the salute. Slow, deliberate, perfect. At ease, Private. He walked forward, extended his hand. Jake shook it. The general's grip was iron. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You stopped an unknown civilian. You verified. You called your chain of command. That's textbook, son. Sir, I didn't know. You weren't supposed to know. That's the point. The general's eyes held something warm. Jake, right? Yes, sir. Jake, I've been retired 15 years. I don't wear the uniform anymore. When I show up at a gate without ID, you should stop me. That's security. That's discipline. That's what keeps this base safe. He squeezed Jake's shoulder. If you just waved me through because I'm old and white and look harmless, I'd have had your stripes. Jake almost laughed. Almost. Permission to ask a question, sir? Granted. Why didn't you just tell me from the start? General Hawkins looked past him. At the base. Because I wanted to see if we're still doing it right. Still training soldiers who know the rules matter. Even when it's inconvenient. Even when some old man tells you stories. He looked back at Jake. We are. You proved that. A vehicle was approaching. Fast. A staff car. It screeched to a halt at the gate. General Martinez jumped out. 2 stars on his collar. The base commander. He took one look at General Hawkins, and his face went pale. Sir? Frank, General Hawkins said warmly. Sir? We didn't know you were coming. If we had, you'd have rolled out the red carpet. I know. That's why I didn't call. The general gestured at Jake. Besides, your gate guard here gave me exactly the welcome I needed. Reminded me we're still teaching them, right? General Martinez looked at Jake, then back at Hawkins. Sir, the least we can do is a tour would be nice, Hawkins said. It's been a while. I'd like to see what you've done with the place. Within 20 minutes, word had spread. The old man at Gate 3, Hawk, the general, the legend. Soldiers started gathering. First a few, then dozens, then hundreds. They lined the main road, stood at attention, waiting. General Hawkins rode with General Martinez. Staff car moving slowly down the main boulevard. And as they passed, every soldier saluted. Young privates, hardened sergeants, officers. Everyone. The general returned every single salute. One by one, his window down, his arm never tiring. And Jake, watching from the gate, saw something in the general's face. Not pride, not ego, gratitude. He was thanking them for carrying on, for still being here, for still believing. They stopped at Hawkins Field, the airfield named in his honor. The general stepped out, walked to the memorial plaque, bronze, his name, his Medal of Honor citation. The date, May 4th, 1972, Hue City, Vietnam. General Martinez stood beside him. We tell the story every year, sir, to every new class. What you did that day, what we did, Hawkins corrected. I didn't do it alone. No, sir. But you led. When everyone else was pinned down, you led. Hawkins touched the plaque. 17 men. That's how many we lost that day. Their names should be here too. They are, sir. Martinez gestured to the other side of the memorial. 17 names, engraved. We added them 5 years ago. The general's jaw tightened. He read each name, slowly, lips moving, like a prayer. When he finished, he stood at attention, rendered a salute, held it 30 seconds, a minute, finally lowered his arm. Thank you, Frank. They visited the barracks, the mess hall, the training grounds. Everywhere he went, soldiers stopped, stared, and saluted. Some of the older NCOs had tears in their eyes. They knew the stories. They knew what Hawk meant. In the afternoon, they gathered in the parade ground. The entire base, 3,000 soldiers, in formation, dress uniforms. General Martinez had made it happen in 4 hours. A miracle of military logistics. General Hawkins stood at the reviewing stand, microphone in hand, looking at 3,000 faces. He cleared his throat. I'm going to keep this short, because you've all got work to do, and I've already interrupted your day. A few laughs. I came back here today for one reason, to see if we're still doing it right, still training warriors who understand that rules matter, that discipline matters, that respect for the uniform matters even when the person wearing it is a 20-year-old private at a gate. He looked at Jake, standing in formation, 3rd row. This morning, Private Morrison stopped me. No ID, no gate pass, just an old man in civilian clothes. He could have waved me through, made an exception, but he didn't. He called his chain of command. He verified. He did his job. The general's voice grew stronger. That's what we are. That's what makes us different. We don't take shortcuts. We don't bend the rules because it's easier. We do it right. Every time. Every soldier. Every mission. 3,000 soldiers stood perfectly still. I spent 42 years in this army. I've seen war. I've seen peace. I've seen the best of us and the worst of us. And I'm here to tell you, the best of us are the ones who do their job when no one's watching, who follow the rules even when it's hard, who wear the uniform with honor even when that honor isn't recognized. He paused. You are the best of us, every single one of you. Don't ever forget that. The applause started slowly, then built. 3,000 soldiers clapping, cheering. General Hawkins stepped back, saluted the formation, and they returned it as one. Perfect synchronization. The sound of 3,000 hands hitting 3,000 rifles. Later, as the sun set, General Hawkins returned to Gate 3. Jake was still on duty. End of his shift. The general walked up. Jake snapped to attention. Private Morrison. Sir, I have something for you. The general reached into his pocket, pulled out a coin. Challenge coin. Old, worn. The edges smoothed by years of handling. On one side, the Medal of Honor. On the other, Hawk, Vietnam, 1972. Sir, I can't, you can. And you will. Because today, you reminded me why I wore this uniform. You did your duty. No matter what. That's rare, Jake. That's precious. He pressed the coin into Jake's hand. When things get hard, when you wonder if it matters, look at that. Remember that it does. Yes, sir. One more thing, sir. You ever want to go Ranger? Special Forces? I still know people. Jake's eyes widened. Sir, I don't know if I'm. You are? Trust me. I've been doing this long enough to know. The general smiled. Think about it. He turned to leave, stopped, looked back. And Jake, sir, thank you. For today. For doing it right. For being the kind of soldier I always hoped we'd keep making. General Robert Hawkins walked through Gate 3, into the Carolina evening, and disappeared down the road. Jake stood there, coin in his hand, heart in his throat. He looked at the coin, ran his thumb over the inscription. Hawk, he understood now. It wasn't about rank, or medals, or ceremony. It was about showing up, doing the job, following the rules, even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching. That's what makes a soldier. That's what makes a hero. Not the moments of glory, but the thousands of small moments. The choices to do right when it would be easier to look away. Jake pocketed the coin, returned to the guard shack, finished his shift. And when he went home that night, he didn't tell anyone what happened. He didn't post about it, didn't make it about him, because that's not what Hawk would do. And now Jake understood. The best heroes are the ones you never hear about, the ones who do their duty quietly, humbly, perfectly. 3 weeks later, Jake put in his packet for Ranger School. He was accepted. Years later, he'd serve in places he couldn't talk about, do things he'd never share. And every mission, every moment, he'd carry that coin, Hawk's coin, the coin that said, do it right, no matter what. This is the human stories, where we believe the greatest acts of service happen in the smallest moments. A gate guard doing his job, an old general testing his legacy, a coin passed from one generation to the next. If you've ever worn the uniform, or known someone who has, drop your city in the comments. Let's honor those who serve quietly, humbly, perfectly. Subscribe for more stories that matter. Stories that remind us why duty and honor still mean something.